Hi, welcome. I'm Bob Stahl, and this is a video blog for our Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction Workbook. I'd like to begin by reading a dedication from Ralph Waldo Emerson. What lies behind us and what lies before us are small matters compared to what lies within us. When we begin mindfulness-based stress reduction programs, we often get people in a circle and we begin to go around and share about what brings us here. And as you open up the workbook and begin, you'll be asked that question as well. What brings you to this workbook? And I'd like to just share with you briefly some of what brought me to the mindfulness practice. When I was 4 years old, I had my first realization that I was going to die, and that everyone was going to die, and that it could happen at any time. This was a startling and very powerful realization. And I remember specifically when it happened. I was riding in the back seat of my parents' car. We were driving to my grandmother's house in Brighton, Massachusetts. And I remember asking my mother and father about this and just what I had discovered about death. And they said very loving to me, "Don't worry, Bobby, it's not going to happen for a long, long time." And I could tell by the sound of the voice it was very loving, but it also was not fully true. And I also had the experience by the time I was 10 years old to have lost three very special people in my life. My brother, my grandfather, who lived downstairs from me, and my best friend who lived across the street, Ellen. I grew up very confused, really lost in what is this life? This is what was really up for me. And I went through my, schools and graduated from high school, but was still very lost in school. Really didn't make much sense to me. I decided to go up to college to northern New England, to Vermont, Lyndon State College in Lyndonville, Vermont. And there I had a love of the outdoors, skiing, the woods. But I was still fairly lost and confused, and I actually flunked out of school in my end of my sophomore year and was readmitted back in warning for my junior year. And at that point I decided maybe I do need to start to learn. What would I be interested in? And I looked up the course catalog, and there's this class called Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, and Zen. And I thought, what? That sounds pretty interesting to me. And I'd had really no experience with the studies of the Orient before, but for whatever reason, I was compelled. I was interested. And so I remember going to my first day of the class, and sitting on the desk was my teacher in a full lotus position, Bill Jackson. I had never seen a teacher sitting in a full lotus position on a desk before, and as he began to talk and share about the course, I could tell by the way he was holding himself and the way that he expressed himself and just his presence that he knew something that I didn't know, and I realized I wanted to know what he knew. This really began my spiritual journey, if you will. We were assigned the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu, and I remember reading epigram number 47, and it says that there's no need to look outside your window, for everything you need to know is inside you. And when I read that, I realized I had been looking all my life in the wrong direction, looking outside of myself for answers. This was clearly pointing that the way to knowing myself was the journey inwards. This began an amazing journey that I've been on for well over 30 years. Part of my life was spent living in a Buddhist monastery for 8.5 years, and I'm a continuing meditator. So I'd like to just ask you, what brings you to the Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction Workbook? What's been going on in your life that, for whatever reason, is now bringing you into this place of looking inside yourself, and maybe pausing for a moment and just acknowledging what brings you here? Of course, you may have and would like more time to reflect on that and to write in the book. And I'd like to invite you in this video blog to maybe share in the discussions what brings you to our book. And of course, you're welcome to participate and write in the wall as well. We want to make this an interactive forum on this Facebook page of maybe you have questions that you would like to ask us. Once a week we'll be producing a new vlog, and so we can begin to communicate with you. So I think this is good for now, and wish you all much peace. And we'll just take a moment to just breathe in and breathe out. And may we all be at peace. Thank you very much, and wishing you all deep peace.